into the third lesson or verse. And he mentions the Chinese word is Shenzhen. And that's probably a terrible pronunciation. But it means sage with the added connotation of supreme wisdom and without all of the ego that comes usually from someone who is truly great. It is wisdom of a profound kind, but so much so that your understanding elevates you above the common person, but you do not suffer from that air of superiority. Your ego is not fed by that, and you are very humble, and you use that ability to speak for goodness.
Would the Dalai Lama be an example?
Yeah, I think so. I think all of it. I think Gandhi. I think we've had many great examples, even in modern times, of people who are trying to do good things.
Donald Trump.
Not the first name that comes to mind, but who are trying to do good things without any recognition whatsoever or self-benefit. And I wanted to call there. The word Shenzhen, Shen, is written with a sign that contains three parts: an ear, a mouth, and the sign of a king or a sovereign governor. So here's where you get the term a shaman king, or a sage king. It's actually written to show how superior the comprehension is, the understanding, the wisdom is. You've got an ear, you've got a mouth, and you're a king. And that is where the term, or the Chinese word Shen comes from. And so if that kind of puts it in perspective, and that's why Lao Tzu used that word when he was talking about someone with a true understanding of the Tao and how that person would act in certain things. And when we get into later lessons of the Tao, you'll see how the sage king refers to himself as an orphan, rather than many people, of course, deriving huge ego, prestige, and pride in their lineage. Yes, I am so-and-so, son of so-and-so, son of so-and-so, and all this other stuff. Whereas he says a sage will refer to himself as an orphan, not relying on any of that prestige that comes from your ancestors. And other things. He talks about being as a driverless carriage and things like that. So there's a lot of great wisdom ahead. But anyway, I wanted to just touch on, because it'll be coming up all the time, Sage King and where that comes from. So the third chapter or verse, not praising the deserving prevents envy. Not valuing wealth prevents theft. Not displaying what's desirable prevents confusion of the senses. Therefore the sage governs by emptying senses and filling bellies, curbing strife and strengthening backs, keeping the people ignorant and without desire, making the learned afraid to act. If he acts without action, order will prevail. Now here it seems like, wait a minute, this is very contradictory to our quest for deeper understanding. So I want to read it again, but I want you to put yourself in the position of an actual ruler. You are the king, you are the sovereign, you are the emperor of China. And now read these words and see if there is great wisdom in these words. Not praising the deserving prevents envy. Not valuing the wealth prevents theft. Not displaying what's desirable prevents confusion of the senses, which is, we'll probably want to discuss that. Therefore, the sage governs by emptying senses and filling bellies, curbing strife and strengthening backs, keeping the people ignorant and without desire, making the learned afraid to act. If he acts without action, order will prevail. So, thinking as someone in a position of authority, someone who is responsible for the public welfare and what is supposedly one of the principal reasons for government, to ensure public order. There's like 3 reasons for government, and one is to protect, and one is to ensure public order. And so, what did this passage mean to you? Do you disagree with it, agree with it? In part, what do you get out of it?
I agree to disagree.
Okay.
Craig. Saying if you're not dreaming to be somewhere, or if you're not striving to be somewhere, everything will be fine and dandy in a way.
It sort of. It's as a king. If you, even if someone does something good, and I've witnessed this, you got to be careful. There's a lot of rules, and I've been to I don't know how many courses and symposiums in leadership and all that kind of stuff, because it's not easy managing firefighters. That's a whole class of personalities that are very alpha dog, independent thinkers, and getting them to cooperate and work as a team requires a lot of technique. But not praising the deserving prevents envy. If you show favoritism, this is one of the things that every manager worries about. You want to motivate people to greatness. You want to have people set goals. Even in the Girl Scouts, you sell 85 boxes of cookies and you're going to get some kind of prize. So certainly goals or prizes or rewards are good motivational tools, but you are being cautioned that if you emphasize this too much, for every one person who won the prize, you just made 100 people envious of that one person and made them disappointed or unhappy. Now I'm lucky. I got more spankings than anyone I know growing up. But I always was very aware that I deserved them. And so I grew up loving my dad to the nth degree, and all of my spankings never eroded not one moment of that. And because I knew I had this coming. And there were quite a few I had coming that I never got, because I at least didn't get discovered there. So I didn't feel anything there. But that human nature, of which envy is one of our deadly sins we've identified, if I started treating, even on a small scale here, only a crew of 3, if I started showing favoritism to one person, the other 2 might be thinking, hey, what's up? I'm working hard. Where's my favoritism? Where's my cookies? Stuff like that. Now, there's a huge distinction between equal and fair. And if you read about communism, or if you have had the privilege of being a father, then you understand that fair and equal is not at all the same thing. So there can often be unequal treatment, but that does not mean it is unfair treatment. To each according to his needs, from each according to his ability. It's part of the Communist Manifesto, and it is how families operate. You don't make your 3-year-old go out and mow the grass. That's the responsibility of your 14-year-old. But you don't give your 3-year-old the keys to the car either. That is a privilege you may give your 16-year-old. So there's trade-offs. Yeah, you got to mow the grass, but you might get to borrow the car Friday night. Not fair from one perspective, if you're looking at equal treatment. What is this gold brick? All he does is sit around and eat and poop all day. Yeah, he's 2 years old. When he's 12, he'll get his chores. Actually, around my house, when he's 4, he'll get his chores. They start out simple, but
the jobs are done perfect. The small jobs.
Eventually. So, while it doesn't seem right, it does. I argued one time, I had a firefighter, one of my ones who I got because they were about to fire him. He had a bad attitude, derived from, nothing is simple. Troubles at home, lippity snickets, all this stuff. Now he's got a bad attitude. He feels like people don't, so his behavior at work is a little off, and people treat him off, and he feels nobody respects him, appreciates him, so downward spiral. Next thing you know, he's my firefighter. So I give him special assignments. And at first, people go, hey, you're giving him extra work. Well, yeah, but it has a purpose. And his special assignment actually carves out and creates a position of authority that doesn't even exist in the fire department. He becomes our company safety officer. And I make that his responsibility. So now he has some authority, something, and some prestige he hasn't had for the last few years, and it's made him really a sourpuss. And I'm making him work harder, and I'm giving him recognition. And it comes time for his evaluation, annual evaluation. I've only had him for about 2 months. The evaluation is supposed to reflect the entire year. and he was a poop bird for the whole first 10 months. Now he's coming around and he's being it's a pleasure to work with him. And he does have skills. This guy is on the north side of 300 pounds, and he is strong. And while he also has a fear of heights, not the best quality for a firefighter, I understand this, so I know I can count on this guy as my number one forcible entry tool, and we will get through any door we have to. And on extrication, I know that a 3-main engine company, something that normally takes 4, we can roll a car over on our own because I got this guy with me. But I know I can't put this guy up a ladder. He just psychologically can't do it. That's okay. I'll go up the ladder. Or maybe I got another guy who can go up the ladder, but I know it's not this guy. So, play on, we talked about this before. In a group setting, you play to everybody's strengths. As an individual, you want to focus on your weaknesses and try to correct those. Oh, that was our conversation.
I'm terrified of heights. Can you fix that? Can you help me overcome that? Because I've got to go aloft.
I can't fix it. You can fix it, and I can try to help you fix it. But only you can fix it.
We can tie you up at the top of the mast if you want.
And leave you there. By the 4th
Do you
day,
know you're not?
become quite comfortable.
Which knot would you use?
This one?
By the 4th day, you will become very comfortable up there. So,
Flogging will continue until morale improves.
if you listened to my Roan story at all, you will realize that it was the guy who was in the crow's nest during that Category 5 hurricane being ripped around everywhere. He's 100 feet up. Wham! So imagine, compounded leverage, or when the boat is listing from portal to portal, that mast is doing almost the same. And he's going back. But when the boat sank, 100 foot up, the boat sank in 25 feet of water. He was still out of the water. He clung there for 17 hours before he was able to get down psychologically and swim to Salt Island. But nonetheless, my point is, it was the guy in the crow's nest. You thought the worst position on the whole boat. One of the few survivors. Only 23 survived. He was one of them. So, there's something good to be said about heights. And I had firefighters who were claustrophobic. That's not great for a firefighter. It comes out, you can lie about it, but the guy who panics and destroys the maze when you're climbing, when you're scurrying through the maze that's made of plywood and everything, and it's blacked out, and you've got tape over your mask, and you're on your ventilator and stuff, the guy who eventually and just destroys the maze to get some freedom. Okay, you've got claustrophobia. So, anyway, so by not praising the deserving, you're preventing envy.
Bless you.
So you need to balance this with, hey, nobody appreciates me. I'm busting my butt. No one's appreciating me. So you've got to think, how do I balance this? But on the grand scale of things, Lao Tzu is advising those in authority that you got to be careful, because for every duke you make 100 very annoyed peasants. So, not valuing wealth prevents theft. If you don't acquire wealth, what are people going to steal from you? If society, gold has some virtues. doesn't tarnish, it's a great electrical conductor, stuff like that. It is actually, gold is anti-magnetic, not non-magnetic, anti-magnetic. Gold will push a magnet away, no matter which pole you put it on. So the metal has value, but its real value only comes from its scarcity. And by that, everybody goes, well, there's not very much gold, so if I have some, I have bragging rights. So, girls like gold. Yes, it's glittery. Girls like glittery things, but they don't want you to give them a rhodium. No girl walks in and goes, look at my rhodium ring with a zircon in it. They want real gold and they want a real diamond because they are rare. So therefore they are valuable. Therefore that identifies I am worth it. Someone loves me enough to spend, what's the formula? You're supposed to, a month's paycheck, or is it 2 months' paycheck, is the appropriate amount to spend on an engagement ring. So whatever, if you're only earning $5 an hour, well, you're going to get a 1/4 carat engagement ring because that's what you earn over a 2-month period, whatever the formula is. Anyway, there's an accepted formula for how big your girl's ring should be. Now, she may not accept that formula because her formula is based on all my girlfriends have this size, so mine better be bigger. That's her formula. So, but again, it's the scarcity that really defines the value.
As somebody who's worked in the jewelry industry, it turns out that diamonds are not actually as rare as we think they are.
No, we can make perfect diamonds now.
Yeah.
Oh, and yes, because they're controlled by the cartel, so their availability is carefully controlled to control the market. But their